What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, Isiah Thomas, NBA legend Isiah Thomas, is the latest in a long line of NBA OGs who are being disrespected by snot-nosed, Similac breath smelling, annoying grain pattern in his beard having ass. You know that shit he got in the side of his beard like it's some marshmallow fluff or some shit? Tapered, balding, hair having ass, Draymond Green, just disrespectful. Yeah, what I said was disrespectful, but he's disrespectful, so fuck him. But anyway, Draymond Green takes something that Isiah Thomas said as a negative. Isiah Thomas just gave him some friendly advice. When you break down what Isiah Thomas said to the smallest integer, he basically said, blot out all these distractions and just focus on basketball. Focus on being a better basketball player. We know how Isiah talks. I would just focus on being a better basketball player and blot out all of these negatives and all of these extracurricular things that he's doing, and it'll work out for him. You know Isiah talk, old soft spoken ass gangster nigga, you. But no, he'll Draymond. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I don't give a fuck nobody. So I'm gonna do my podcast. Well, the thing about Draymond Green I noticed too is he can dish it out with relish. Oh yes, he can dish that shit out. He like he's like the dark overlord from the summoners of Nexus. When he was dishing that shit out in the fucking cafe and Howard the Duck. I do not have a license. I am not Jack. He can do all that shit. But when you come back at him, lower lip want to start trembling, face get all scrunched up, like he want to ball up and cry, but he too tough to do it and shit, and he sulk, you know. Well, basically, the reason why I'm doing this video, fuck Draymond Green. I heard something that I couldn't believe. Shout out to my brother LB. Some moron, some blithering idiot on Ticket's podcast today had the nerve to say something to the effect of, well, Draymond got 3 rings. Isiah only got 2. First of all, motherfucker, only 2? Is this where we are now? Only 2 championships? Only 2. Only 2. I tell you what. See, like Charles Barkley said, it's easy to get your little bus pass, right? To get your bus pass and get on the bus and be a bus passenger, a bus rider. Now, Draymond might be a little bit further up as a passenger. I'm not saying he's Slava Medvedenko, but he ain't Klay Thompson for damn sure. Klay right there. And sometimes Klay drives in the seat. Steph usually driving. Jordan Poole sometimes say, hey, I'm going to drive today. Draymond does not get to touch that motherfucking wheel. And can't. It's like a force field around that motherfucker when he try to reach his hand and touch that bitch. Or scorching 800-degree heat that prevent him from touching that motherfucker and wrecking the bus. But what I'm getting at is he's a passenger. And passengers don't have the same responsibilities as the driver. The driver is the one that has to look at the course, look at the he has to look at the road ahead of him and map the journey, and he's the one that has to make all of the critical decisions. All right? He's the one that does that. That's Isiah Thomas from 1981 to 1994. He was the one making all the decisions with the Detroit Pistons as far as being out there on the floor. Draymond had a role created for him to thrive because in the old NBA, he would have been nothing but a fucking bum. He would have been a tweener who would have been a bad fit for that league. He wouldn't have been able to stop any of the fucking big power forwards and centers. Rasheed Wallace would have ate his ass up alive, as would Vin Baker, as would Antonio McDyess, as would fucking LaFonso Ellis, as would fucking Charles Barkley and Karl Malone, as would fucking goddamn shit. I throw in goddamn old boy, Mahmoud Abdul Rahim. Remember him? No, not Abdul Rahim. Sharif Abdul Rahim. That's what I meant to say. Sharif Abdul Rahim. Garnett, Duncan, all. Come on, man. Do I really got to repeat all these motherfuckers that was playing back then? Shit, I didn't even see Big Country Reeves giving them problems. I see Big Country Reeves giving them problems, and I even go out and say, dare I say it, Tom Googly Oogliotta would have probably dropped 27 and 8 on this motherfucker, man. Come on, man. This guy's playing in an era where, for the most part, it was a small amount of quality big men. Only now you're seeing a resurgence. And people talking about they put this fucking lie out there. Draymond, oh man, Draymond stopped Nikola Jokic. How? How you stop Nikola Jokic? Because they lost in 5? Jokic averaged 31 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 57.5% shooting from the floor, 84.8% shooting from the foul line. Someone tell me how he stopped Nikola Jokic, even though Jokic was their only fucking real offensive threat, and he didn't have Michael Porter Jr. nor Jamal Murray to stretch the floor and to give the defense any pressure. And he still was able to put those type of numbers up. Now imagine if they had Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray. Come on, man. This guy can't stop nobody. And look, a great player is not going to be stopped all the time. Don't get me wrong. Dennis Rodman got burnt sometimes too. But a great player, a great defensive player, will have his moments. I'm trying to figure out what these moments are for Draymond Green. Let me ask you guys a question. How of us talk about where was Draymond the last couple of years when that team fell apart, right? When Clay got hurt, when Steph got hurt, when KD left. But I got an even better one for you. When KD was hurt in the 2019 playoffs, right? And then Clay got hurt. Why Draymond didn't step up? I mean, he's supposed to be that Hall of Fame caliber player back you trying to tell me he is, right? Why didn't he step up? Why didn't he expand his game and help out? I mean, I know he's not a scorer, you know. See, Rodman didn't like to score, but he had his moments when he did. Like when he was player of the month back in January 1992. Oh, yes, sir. Too raw, no his shit. I believe that month Rodman averaged a little bit off my numbers, but wasn't it something like in January of 1992? Didn't Rodman average like 12 points and 25 rebounds for the fucking month? And you want to tell me that Draymond Green is on the same level as Dennis Rodman. Same dude led the league in field goal percentage in 1991. A guy who was capable of averaging 20 and 10 if he played on a really bad team. But you know, this is the thing about Isiah Thomas. People got to remember, man. I'm just ending this on video. And this is coming from a Bulls fan. Isiah Thomas could play like John Stockton. He could do that. He could be a pass first point guard. He could play like John Stockton. He was just as great a floor general as Chris Paul. He could control the tempo of a game better than any other point guard in the history of the game. But he could also be that one-on-one break down the defense little man that Allen Iverson and Kyrie Irving are. Now, he doesn't have quite the handles Kyrie has. He's not as great, but he's smaller. So he's not as dominant a scorer in the paint as Kyrie Irving is. But Isiah Thomas was capable of going out and getting you 30, 35 points when need be. And people got to remember, before the Bad Boys, Isiah was kind of, he was pretty much carrying that team. His best individual season was 84-85, when he averaged something like 24 points and 14 assists. And that was back before point guards really shot the ball like they do now, dominate the basketball like that. Isiah Thomas was a great, great goddamn player. He wasn't a lockdown defender, but he was a capable defender, an all-time great. And people gotta, I'm gonna tell you something. I used to undervalue Isiah Thomas at one point. I really did. I had the fucking stupidity when I was in my mid-20s to put Stockton ahead of Isiah Thomas. I got called out on that shit, and I learned I had to educate myself more on prime Isiah. Because part of it was my hatred toward the Pistons. But I started looking at Isiah footage from the 80s, reading about Isiah Thomas, and then I quickly learned, yeah, John Stockton's great, but he ain't no fucking Isiah Thomas. He ain't no Isiah Lord Thomas. And don't be fooled by that 45.2% career field goal percentage. Because, number one, Isiah was more of a mid-range shooter. Number two, he was 6 feet tall. Number three, he played in the era of giants. You know what I'm saying? You had centers like 7'4" Rick Smits, 7'2" Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 7'7" George Mirasan, I think later in his career, 7'7" Manute Bol, 7'6" Sean Bradley. You know what I'm saying? It was probably more 7-footers in the NBA than any other time, so it was a whole different league. But yeah, I just want to do this video to give praise to Isiah Thomas and to shit on Draymond Green one more time.